Thanks again for making the time to for the session and turning holiday shoppers into year-round customers. My name is Greg Zackwitz. I'm the e-commerce expert here at Omnisend. I've been in e-commerce for about 20 years now. I've been in email marketing crazy for about 19 of those 20 years, which is nuts. So hopefully I've seen it all. Maybe not, but seen it all. So if you have any questions, we'll certainly get to those, and hopefully I can help you out here. A couple things to know, just kind of level setting for the session today. Sorry, I'm going to move some stuff around my screen here so I can see a little bit better. So we're going to do about an hour today. Don't worry, we are recording the session. So if for any reason I run long, we have a lot of questions and we carry over the hour, if you need to run to a different meeting or you just had it, you can feel free to log off. We'll send you the recording, and it'll also be on our YouTube channel at some point as well. So we will send that to you. So if you need to jump off, you're not going to miss anything. You can always go up and catch up in the last few minutes of your own time. There is the chat, which you guys are all using right now to talk about whether you're decorating for Christmas already or not. There's also a Q&A button on there as well. So any questions that come in during the webinar, if you can use the Q&A button, it helps us just kind of organize those a little bit better. And then if we can't get to them during the session, it's an easy place for us to look for those to follow up with you after the session as well. So hopefully we'll have those there, but use the Q&A. We have a couple members at our team here kind of monitoring the chat while I'm speaking here. So they'll kindly remind you to move any questions from the chat into the Q&A, but please use the Q&A. Subtle reminder for you, we've got you prepared at Omnisend. So if you haven't yet, feel free to dig through the Omnisend features and see what can be utilized to help you kind of automate, make your efficient Black Friday, Cyber Monday season even more efficient for you. So feel free to spend some time, if you haven't yet, poking around some of the features. Of course, we've got some new reporting coming up, which is super exciting, which I'm sure most of you heard about by now. But be sure to check out Omnisend. We'll talk about some of those features during today's session as well, the things that you can use to make it a little bit more of an efficient season for you. What we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about post-purchase messaging, because obviously this is going to be a core component of how we turn seasonal shoppers into year-round customers. Now, post-purchase can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I'm going to walk through a lot of those different things today. We're going to talk about how to use automation smart to target specifically those seasonal customers and how we can potentially personalize it for those as well. I'm going to give you some engagement ideas for ways to optimize email templates, ways to potentially send messages and engage people moving on from there. And then some of those optimization type things we can incorporate across all messaging all throughout the season, that hopefully small things, they say shavings make a pile. We want to make a pile here. So I guess ultimately when we talk about turning holiday shoppers into year-round customers, we have to ask the question, what makes someone want to repeat purchase from a brand? And this is interesting, and it's probably going to be a little bit different for everyone, but I'm going to go through some ideas. If everyone wants to use the chat real quick, just throw an idea out there, but think about how it relates to your brand, because obviously some people are going to be selling, consumer electronics, maybe $10 widgets to do something. Some are going to be selling high-end furniture or art pieces, right? And you have very different customers. Someone who might buy a pack of pens once a month is not going to buy a new couch once a month, right? So there are some nuances there. So if you want to use the chat function, just let me know some reasons that someone might buy from your brand again, and we'll kind of use those as a framework here. Some reasons I threw down: a good shopping and purchase experience. It certainly helps to have a positive experience over a negative experience. But one thing I'll talk about today is like what ultimately that means. What's a good experience versus an everyday experience? Because those things do matter. Positive feedback from family and friends, especially seasonal gifts, right? If we're gifting something, to hear someone say, "Oh, you know what? That makes a great gift. I really love that. That sweater was so soft. Thank you for that." That sticks in your mind, and it makes people want to think next time they need a gift, they're like, "Hey, you know what? This person loved that. Let me go there again." Obviously, value, quality, these are things that matter. Customer service, this is becoming a bigger and bigger differentiator for brands now, is live, effective customer service, right? 30-day return window, it's day 31. How good is that customer service person? And how flexible are they to give you a little leeway there? So customer service, obviously trust, dependability here. I've got Fran, brand recognition, right? Quality, gift boxing, I love gift boxing, right? That's one of those value adds. We'll talk about that today as well. Um, Available after sale services. I'm going to talk about that today as well. So these are absolutely all things that at the end of the day, they enhance the purchase experience. And these are things that I would encourage everyone to think about from your brand. What matters? Now, here's what I'll say about holiday shoppers. And when we talk about holiday shoppers, obviously we're in the midst of Black Friday, Cyber Monday right now, but holiday does not have to be centered to Q4 holiday, right? We have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have Valentine's Day, we have St. Patrick's Day. Choose the season that fits for your brand and apply it across the board. These are not specifically Black Friday, Cyber Monday tactics I'm going to talk about today. They certainly work. But think about seasons and holiday shoppers as year-round holidays because we have those. I would always say don't assume they'll become repeat shoppers, but I also wouldn't assume that they won't be repeat shoppers. And why do I say that? It seems kind of obvious, but a lot of customers, and I've consulted over 100 brands, and a lot of the ones I talk to, they go, oh, well, we have great products. Of course, they'll come back. The reality is, majority of people don't come back to shop again, right? It's always this hunting thing. So don't assume they'll come back. We've got to win them back. But there's unless it's a terrible experience, don't assume they're not coming back, right? It's about making the experience going from here and taking it up a notch and going to the next level and make that. And the way we do that is we communicate strategically with them. We look for these small wins. And again, the shavings make the pile to improve the experience one little piece at a time. So I'm going to start by talking about engagement, some engagement tactics we can do here. And the reason I'm starting here is that these are things that when we talk about post-purchase series and we talk about segmentation later in the conversation here, we can use these engagement tactics and apply them to all the things I'm going to talk about later. So again, we're going to start kind of crawl, walk, run here. So engagement, and I want to start with the email template because if we have someone coming and shopping with us for the very first time, right, hopefully our welcome message and hopefully those initial couple of emails are optimized to promote and build consumer confidence with people. But we want to constantly reinforce our value. We want to do it for people that haven't shopped yet. And then once they shop, we want to constantly reinforce that value with them for their life with us. So the ways we could do that, one way is we could talk about value adds here, talk about differentiators, we talk about social proof, and I'll go through a couple examples of each of these so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But we want to talk about optimizing our overall email template and structuring it in a way where every single time someone opens an email, they see something that they're going to resonate with. There's something that's going to stick with them and something that's going to reinforce your brand values here. So value adds, this can cover a lot of different things. This is not an all-inclusive list. Think about your brand, but speed and cost of shipping, return policies. Return policy, I talked about customer service becoming a differentiator. These are becoming a differentiator too because margins are getting squeezed with returns. And I think we all know it. If you have satisfaction guarantees, price matching, loyalty programs, product attributes, maybe you have higher quality products. They last longer. They're US made, they're vegan, they're animal-free tested, cruelty-free tested, whatever it might be. So think about and make a list of all the things that really differentiate you and are value adds for customers, and look for ways to incorporate those into an email. And I'll show you some different ways we can do that as well. Screenshot to the left there is this is the kind of recovery section of an email where they have star ratings about customer service ratings. So they're reinforcing the fact they have good customer service. Social proof, reader's choice, and then they have those little value adds at the bottom. And these are just recovery sections to convince people, hey, we got you covered. Don't worry about it here. Social proof is another thing we can do. We can use it in our marketing, but we can also use it to reinforce those value adds. So you're probably already collecting product reviews, so you have star ratings, top rated products. You have testimonials on here, and this could just be text in either customer service kind of feedback emails that you might get, hey, rate and review us, or they could be products as well. Hey, the product quality fit was exceptional, or customer service great, right? We can pick and choose those things off and use those in our messages. Top rated products, it's a form of social proof because they're top rated. People love them, right? So we're reinforcing that. Best sellers, obviously they're best sellers because people love them. And then back in stock, it's the same thing. People loved them so much, they bought them. Now we're back in stock. They're not going to last long. But these are all things that kind of reinforce that people love your products, people love your brand. They want to come back and shop again. And again, we can incorporate these into our email templates. Here's a recovery section of an email, longer email, but you can see the main call to action there, or this could be a secondary call to action as well. But we can add value adds there. We can put a star rating, we can put a testimonial, we can put the additional value adds on there. And within the section or within the template itself, you can also build in sections. So you have your main content, your main call to action, whatever it might be. Underneath that, you have a section for top rated products or customer favorites. Maybe it's new arrivals underneath that, but you can build those things in and kind of hard code them so that you have a more robust email template, more product suggestions as you move through, but you're really only swapping out the main content or occasionally swapping out those top rated products, whatever they might be. So these are, again, small, subtle ways to engage people and constantly reinforce your value. Here's an example, short email designed to sell a single product, but it's a really good job, right? They have the social proof at the very top. We've got the free shipping, so price and speed of shipping, right? We've got our star rating. We've got our testimonial. We've got the image of the product. Simple, straightforward, but in this one little image, we've got 4 things that are constantly reinforcing the value of them here. So again, we can do this from a complex email. We could do it from a small email, but look at your own brand and find ways you can subtly, if you aren't already doing it, build these into your messaging. And I'm going to talk about automation here in just a second as well, but think about how we can build them into our automated messaging, right? Shopping cart abandonment, they're close to purchasing. Maybe we want to tout customer service a little bit as just a testimonial underneath the main call to action there, whatever it might be. We're going to talk about automation a little more in detail, but I just want to briefly throw this out for you. Automation is a tool you can use, and it can help you drive one-time purchasers into second time into third-time purchasers. You don't need to study the chart here. I pulled numbers from January 1st through the end of September. So these are the numbers from 2024. Campaign messages, those are your scheduled messages, very top line. Your conversion rate's 0.07%. So conversion based on email sent. Look at the automation messages. They all perform better, right? There's no secret to it. So 41% of all orders for the first 9 months this year, email orders came from automated messages, 2% of sends. So we have an outweighing factor here of automation. We want to use it. I'm going to talk about 3 specific types of automation today. Spend more time in specifically one of them, but I just wanted to show that because we want to understand how people are converting and how we can use tools to help us a little bit better. SMS growth trends as well. If you're not using SMS, I'd encourage you to start collecting those, add a sign up on your email pop-up, and start letting us know whether your customers will let you know whether they want SMS or not. Just make it optional. If you're using it, we want to utilize this to our advantage, but it's not too late to start growing your list if you want to. This is how consumers are navigating. So we had a 60%, close to 60% year over year growth in SMS sends last year. We're at 45% for the first 9 months this year. November is a significant SMS send month. My guess is by year end, we'll be around that 55-ish, 60% growth year over year as well. So people are using SMS, they're adopting it, companies are using it, consumers are enjoying it. I know I enjoy it. So don't overlook it. If you're using it, I'm going to talk about just some subtle ways we can build upon the user experience here. And SMS is very much like email marketing is on the automation side. So you could see automation performs better than campaigns, right? They're relevant, they're timely, they're based on something very specific, and it converts more orders. So ultimately, we want to look at the channels people are navigating to, utilize those, utilize the tools available to us, and that's going to be specifically automation and the tools within our segmentation capabilities. And we want to use our email templates and optimize them to constantly reinforce value adds. And if we do this, it's going to be that slow burn, right? We're going to slowly get people moving along, constantly reinforce the value, constantly reinforce the benefits. Those things will pay a dividend. So those are the high level engagement pieces that I think are going to be the core components of how we're going to then build upon and drive a second, third, and hopefully loyal customer base for you. So that being said, I want to shift more to specific post-purchase messaging and a strategy within that. So go back to the automation slide here. Post-purchase, I've got the little arrow there. You see 1.09% conversion rate for these messages. Now, these are messages that are sent to people who just made a purchase. So if we're converting significantly better than scheduled promotional messages via messages that are sent to people who already purchased. Now we're driving a second purchase at a minimum, right? So we know they have potential. Now, these messages, when you talk about post-purchase messaging, means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Product review messages, cross-sell messages, right? There's tons of messages. I'm going to give you a whole list of them here. But what I want to talk about with post-purchase messaging is that first kind of, well, I guess technically second bullet point here is about enhancing the experience. So when you craft a dedicated post-purchase series, typically you're going to get between 2 and 4 messages based on the brand, based on the products, things like this. But we're going to use these messages, in my mind, to engage customers because we want to keep them engaged. We want to reinforce the brand value. We want to generate content that could be reviews, it could be testimonials, it could be uh, social images, whatever content we want to drive there. And we want to generate repeat purchase at the end of the day. Now, how do we do that? So these are the things. And so when I'm talking about post-purchase series, there are no shortage of types of messages you can send. This is not an all-inclusive list. These are just some of the messages. Now, I'm going to walk through a few examples of a few different types of messages here. And then I'm going to show some specific attendee ones for those that submitted their brand names beforehand. I picked a handful of them, and I'll give you some suggestions. I'm going to walk through examples of ones that I kind of like the best. I think they work most of the time. They really enhance the customer experience. They're a little bit more in my eyes, but they are not the all-inclusive, definitive way to go. So that being said, I'm going to focus on first thank you message. Now, these are really interesting because normally when people say thank you message, they'll think order confirmation. They're like, hey, thanks for your purchase. Here's your info below. Those messages are fine. Of course, you should always send those. But the thank you message is just a dedicated message. And it says, hey, thanks for your purchase. We appreciate your loyalty. We appreciate you having here, whatever it might be. Now, this middle example here, my wife received this middle example 2 days ago. She made a purchase and we're laying on the couch and she says, oh, look at this email I just got. And she goes, oh, I was kind of hoping there would be a discount in there. And I said, oh, you plan on shopping again? She says, well, no, not necessarily, but she was looking for the discount, right? So these thank you messages, you can see I gave a couple examples here. Normally you want to call to action. Crate and Barrel has, I think they had some recommended products underneath here, but their call to action is mostly, hey, contact customer service enabled if you need to. They don't have to have incentives. You can put incentives on there if you want to. I've seen them both work quite effectively. Subject line, something like thanks for your recent purchase. You should get 60, 70% open rate all day long, every day. But you want some sort of call to action. You could put recommended products on there. I know when my wife was looking at this middle example here, she goes, ooh, I kind of like those. And my guess is if she had the 15% off or whatever they would have offered, she probably would have bought them. But they had a couple rows of recommended products, and that was about it. But the goal here is to thank the customer, and just make them feel a little more valued than someone else. It doesn't have to be a long message, but you can always provide a call to action to check out new arrivals. You can have it to blogs and resources. You can have it go to a customer service page. There's a lot of different places you can drive them. Include some sort of call to action, though. And that's about it. It does not have to be shop now, but thank you messages go a long way. Typically, you'd send these maybe a day after purchase, could be 2 days, kind of based on the product. How-tos, I love how-to messages. These are perfect. What they do is they reinforce the value and the quality of your products. Even if you sell a $7 USB charger, right? You could do a how-to care for your cord so it doesn't crimp or whatever, right? It just reinforces value. But think about a how-to that might appeal for your specific brand. So we've got couch covers, how to put the couch covers on the right way, the left-hand side. The right-hand side, baking steel. This is like a pizza stone, right? But it's a big chunk of steel. Cooks a pizza in like 5 minutes. It's great. I don't know the first thing about making pizza, but I bought one of these things and I make at-home pizza with the kids now, and it's delicious. But I don't know the first thing about pizza recipes. So they had two of the recipes of all time. I think one was pizza. The other one was, by the way, this recipe for dough is really good. Shout out. But I think the other one might have been like cinnamon sticks or like cinnamon bread sticks or something. But this shows me how it fills a gap, a knowledge gap, but also helps me utilize the product. Now they have cross-sell items that they can sell. They didn't in this message, but they have like the peel, that big wood thing you stick on the pizza and pull it out of the oven. They have griddles. Like they could have easily sold me a peel and stuff like that, which I want to buy later. But how-tos. It's great. It helps me utilize the product. I could forward this email to a friend if I bought it for a gift. And I bought a couple of these as gifts for people, right? These are things that work. The Best Buy one in the middle, right? You buy a TV. This is good. Here's how to hang a TV, avoid the oops moment. I would have swapped out the thing in the lower left-hand corner there because it's how to get it home safely. You would think they know whether I ordered delivery or in-store pickup, but it was not in-store pickup. But minor details, right? Think about how any sort of how-tos you might have. And I'll give you an example about a couple ways you can kind of find these things. One, you might have a FAQ section or a blog post section that has some of these already built in. Talk to your customer service department, or if you're your customer service department, look for themes. So I'll give you an example. I used to work with a client who they sold high-end artificial Christmas trees. Obviously, big time of year for them. And these things were quite expensive. So I was talking to her one day and she says, we got a lot of customer service calls because you see these beautiful pictures, like a Pinterest project, right? And then you put the tree up and it doesn't looks nice, but it doesn't look like the images. And they would get tons of calls to customer service. My tree doesn't look like this. What am I doing wrong? And it's called fluffing the tree. And there's a certain way to unfold and fluff the tree to make it look robust. And they're like, hey, let's create a message and a YouTube video that shows you how to properly fluff the tree. And we put this in our post-purchase series. And what happened was it completely reduced, I think it was something like 70% reduction in customer service calls after the purchase, but they were able to upsell their cross sells for accessory items increased by like 50%, right? So it was doing double duty, but it helps people love the product more. Product care, also great. You can see baking steel, how to clean and care for your baking steel. Love it because do I use soap on it? Do I not? Accessory items, right? How to properly wash your lingerie. Do you sell lingerie bags? Do you sell lingerie wash? Something you could subtly cross-sell that makes it obvious where it's not a product push, but again, you're showing some sort of value there. Bed sheets, right? We got you covered. Here's how to care for your bed sheets. So whether I buy these for myself or I buy them as a gift, right? If I bought this for I don't know, my daughter or son and said, hey, I bought you some bed sheets. Here's either forward you the email or I just tell you, hey, here's how to properly care for them. But if you go to the website, they've got a blog post there that tells you how to care for them. Wash them in cold water, gentle cycle, don't use the dryer or whatever it might be. I'm just making stuff up now. If you have parachute sheets, don't listen to me because I don't have any. But these are great ways to enhance that customer experience. Product follow-up or purchase follow-up. This is one that's rarely used. And I really love these messages. And the goal of this is really, say, 2 weeks after the customer's very first purchase. You just send an email asking how everything is perfect with them, right? And there's a couple things why this is really important. One, we want to make the customer experience exceptional or better than your competitors. And a lot of times, an average customer just, hey, I order a product, I get product's fine. I move on with my day. There's nothing wrong with that experience, but there's nothing stand out about it. So next time I need to buy a product, sure, I might go to you. I might go to your competitor, but there's nothing stand out. If there's a really good experience, I'm like, hey, this is great. You're going to be my first choice next time I go back. If there is a bad experience, and it doesn't have to be terrible, but a kind of minor experience, that's maybe more of an annoyance. Oh, this little piece fell off, but I was able to kind of fix it on my own, something like that. It's not bad enough where they're going to spend half an hour doing live chat or calling customer service to complain about something, but they know that, product quality, so there's something there that's not perfect. So next time they go back, they might not be the first choice. You might not be the first choice. You might be the second choice. You might be in consideration, but not the go-to. Messages like this, a lot of times people will reply back and be like, hey, you know what? This thing happened. And you can jump on that customer service. And if they know they're taken care of, you will be the first choice next time. And they won't be scared to reach out to you because they know you're going to solve the problem. So I love messages like this. And I think the underscored perfect here is exactly what you want to do. It's like when you wait tables, if you ever waited tables, and I have, you don't say, is everything fine? How is it? How is your order? Is everything good? You say, is everything perfect with your food perfect? You want to set the standard as being, this is the most perfect meal. This is the most perfect purchase you have ever made. So these could be just plain text messages, right? They don't have to be great. but it's a really good example of how to make an experience a little bit better for that customer. We can use SMS in here as well. So if you have a subscriber who is email and SMS or SMS only subscriber, think about ways to incorporate SMS into the message. Here's just a couple examples, right? I love the very top middle one. Follow us on Instagram for styling tips and see how others are wearing their style, right? So this is building a community, but it's also making the brand and their Instagram page a resource for you. What happens is you're going to go for resources, you're going to go for more styling, you're going to see a product you like, you're going to buy it. And again, now you're repeat purchasing, or you're going to see more gifts that you might like. So think about how we can rope SMS into these messages as well. So those are some of my favorite messages on a post-purchase series. And again, these are not Black Friday, Cyber Monday specific, but these are things that you can slowly build in. I want to look through a couple customer examples. So a ton of you, I mean, over 100 of you have sent in your brands for suggestions for things. I picked, I think, 5 of them out. And I tried to vary the industry. I tried the very difficulty level for me. You'll kind of see some things here. So it's not copy paste, but it's somewhat copy paste. So clever mocktails. These are mocktails, right? Non-alcoholic drinks. Then good for the holiday season, good for gatherings. So I might just do something like this. Hey, thank you message, customer service info. You might not know about mocktails. You might be getting them as a gift. You might not be, but you might have some questions around that. So customer service, what if something is damaged in shipping? What if the taste wasn't quite good, right? These are things to do. Best recipes. They have a blog post on their website, best recipes. And you could do these based on the items ordered, right? So if they ordered this item versus this item, best recipes for this, or you could just send best recipes, link to the blog post, maybe have a couple recommendations on there, and then read more here, whatever it might be, but recipes are good. This is product usage, right? How-tos. Gifts for the season, right? Season's going to shift. Calendar seasons will shift as well. So we're going to have, most refreshing drinks for summertime, crisp drinks for the fall. It could be, spring break or whatever those spring drinks are. So you can kind of change these out quarterly and then have a link to all seasons and all different recipes and things here. But again, just accelerating or elevating that experience a little bit. And then I do the first order check-in, maybe with SMS as well. Everything perfect the order? Let us know if not. So these are small ways. And again, most of this, if not all of this content already exists on their website. So it's reusing content you've collected, you've written, you've created, and just repurposing it, right? What marketers do, repurpose. Pepperino. So they sell a lot of different products. I tried to put a kind of a running list on the side here from their website. So wooden maps, wooden wall art. So this is going to be more decor related. So you might gift it, you might not gift it, might be a self-purchase, but self-purchases are also good for gifts. And I'll give you an example of that. But again, I'm going with thank you with the customer service info. Wall mounting tips. So all their pieces, it looks like, are sold with, wall hanging hardware. So nothing too advanced, but sometimes, and I've hung a bunch of them where the intricate details, it's not thick, it's not a flat piece, right? There's space in there. Sometimes those can be a little bit tricky to measure and level off and things like that. So you could create a short video for how to do this. But when we come to decor, what about lighting? What about making it a feature piece? So maybe you have some lighting tips or examples. You can use some images in there, but hey, do you light it from the bottom? Do you light it from the top, from the side? Do you want to cast a shadow, not cast a shadow? So again, just making that piece be a little more elevated in from an aesthetic point of view. First order check-in, and then it's art, it's decor. These are perfect pieces of content to share on social media. So have a social share request. Hey, you could put something like, hey, thanks for your recent order. We hope you're enjoying your product. This is after the check-in. We'd love for you to share your style with us or your visuals with us. Be sure to tag us on social media, and kind of play from that way, but it lets you build upon that communication a little bit with the customer. I got Candorama, so candles, they do sprays, things like this. So here's a screenshot from their FAQ section of their website, well, part of their FAQs. This is content. This is all post-purchase content here. So again, thank you, customer service info. Of course, you could have a discount, non-discount. Candle burning tips, right? Got to burn them a certain way. Different, I think wicks, if I'm not a candle guy, but I think the different wicks burn different ways. Wax care and instructions, right? You burn it from don't have it at an angle or something. You want to burn it the right way. So, what to do with the wax that's coming over. So this is a perfect example. Now they sell sprays, room sprays. So scents. They've got a thing. How do you combine candles and room sprays? These are different items that you can kind of, subtly cross-sell to one another. So, hey, I've got two scents I love. Can I combine these? Here's how to do it. So you've got your recommendations, and this is a perfect time to have a discount. Hey, want to try our room sprays, or want to try our candles, or want to get a bundle product, right? And you could maybe have a bundle on there with a discount of some sort to encourage that second purchase. Also good for gifts. And then first order check-in. Right? How's everything going? Did the candle meet your expectations? Did the room spray, is the fragrance good? Blah, 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 whatever it might be here. So these, I think, make perfect gifts as well. So we can encourage that gift giving a little bit. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this because I'm going to do it disservice, but this is high-end artwork. So something that might not be gifted. It's hard to gift artwork. It's hard to gift high-price artwork. I'm not in that realm where this is an interest to me. So I chose this one specifically because it was challenging. Didn't know the first thing about it. So I would do, this is someone's artwork. It's delicate pieces. So I would do a thank you message with kind of a personal note in there. So by artist Alexander James Hamilton. So Alexander, right? Have a small personal note in there. It doesn't have to be long, couple sentences. Thank you, blah, 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 Alexander. Again, we're going back to art pieces. These are showcase, these are displays. So lighting tips for these things, I think makes a perfect type of how-to message. First order check-in, use an SMS there as well. Social share request, we talked about that before. Art pieces, visual, aesthetic, makes perfect sense to do so. And then maybe you can have a follow-up, and this could be subtle suggestions incorporated to the other message as well. But elegant gifting, I saw I think they were silk scarves, lower price points, comparatively speaking. But those are things that, as opposed to gifting pieces of art or something you hang on your wall, you might get the scarf, right? But it's got a name brand associated with it. So that's where I go with that one. And then last one today, strong AF style. So this one I chose because it was challenging. This looks like a brand new or newish brand. Not a lot of blog content, which is fine. You don't have to have a lot of blog content, but it made it challenging for me to kind of think about. So they have the about us and the kind of the founder story. So the guy's name is Mark. I do it more of like your thank you again with a personal note from Mark. So this is their mission is not about, while you see the muscular pictures of strong, but they talk about being mental strong, right? So we're really talking about overall like aura about it. You're strong mentally, you're strong physically, you're strong in whatever sense you need to be strong in. So this is really a community. This is a vibe and a feeling and a connectiveness between people. So I think this second message would be social share requests. My guess is if you love going to the gym and you're lifting weights, you probably are surrounded by I say gym rats is a bad term, but you're surrounded by other people who share those same hobbies. You're probably talking about nutrition and stuff with each other and muscle mass building and stuff like that. So I think this is where a social share message comes out really easily. I think I would probably put a discount to purchase a gift or a second piece and have them share with someone there. So my guess is if I'm in the gym and I look like that, which I guarantee you I do not look like that. So like I might have my friend there and be like, hey, this is a great birthday present, right? We're strong AF together. So, and then of course, first order check-in, and you can kind of make that with a personal note as well. So, hey, this is Mark. Just want to make sure everything's perfect. We're a growing brand. If you're unsatisfied with anything whatsoever, or we can improve, let us know and try to build that community that way. And I think this is going to be a brand where your consumers, your shoppers are going to be your influencers at this point. So that's kind of where I would go with this. You can kind of see a theme between all these messages, but we're trying to communicate. We're trying to provide some how-tos. We're trying to build that community a little bit more. We're trying to provide some upsells and subtle cross-sells wherever we can. And I would say it's okay to put cross-sells or suggested products in every single message you want to. I would just not make them the focus of the message, right? Make them kind of subtle there and go from there. So when we talk about engagement, I would say sell is the start of the process. It's not the finish of the process. You did all the hard work to get someone to give you money the first time. Now the real work begins. And how do we kind of build that? The goal of doing that is to improve the experience, We look for those subtle cross-sell opportunities, and incentives are optional, but they can be really effective used in the right way as well. So I'd work on building out a post-purchase series. Easy place to start. One message at a time. Doesn't have to be complete. You add to it, but the thank you message is the obvious place to start. It's simple. You thank them, put a nice image in there, give them a nice call to action, call it a day, and move on, and let that start building that community for you. All right. So talk about now I want to get into personalization a little bit, and I want to talk about some segmentation strategies and different ways to kind of look at this. And this is a little bit interesting because when we talk about segmentation, right, recapturing and the perfect segment and the perfect send cadence for past purchasers, no one's cracked that nut yet. It's going to vary based on the products you sell and price point. It's going to be everything. It's going to be the season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday versus Valentine's Day, right? There's so many nuances to it. I think what you want to do is you want to find a place to start and you want to just test and iterate from there. So here's some different ideas about what you could do, right? So we have our first time purchaser. We're going to use Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this Q4 shopping season as an example, as a baseline. So what I would do is I create a segment, isolate those shoppers. When the season's over, we know they've only purchased from us once. It was that one-time purchaser, right? And I would send them a lower frequency send cadence if you are sending multiple times a week. So if you're sending, say, 3 times a week, I might only get them one message a week to start off and kind of see how they respond. Are they opening? Are they clicking? Are they engaging? Or is it no man's land, right? We're just at the Wild West watching tumbleweed go by. But I would lower that frequency until they make a purchase or until you kind of get a sense of how they're interacting. And if they start interacting a little bit more, you can maybe give them 2, but I would be cautious, be like, hey, we need to win that second one back. Now, hopefully you will build out a 2 to 3 message post-purchase series, which gives you a little bit of flex time too. You don't need to send the marketing messages. Let the post-purchase series do the work at that point. Think about it, you can always add to the segment as well. If your average order value at your store is $75 and you have your first time purchaser at $30 and you have a different set at 150, you might want to communicate with them a little bit differently. So it's completely optional, but think about maybe having 2 or 3 tiers of customers here, your low price point, your high price point, and right on average, right? Give or take a little bit. It could be discount used, right? Deep discounters versus no discounts or lower discounts. But try to separate it. The goal with separating these things and making them a little more nuanced is to figure out what type of customers respond a little bit differently. So if we know our first time customers at 50 or under, they generally churn, right? They don't come back or they come back once a year. It's good to know that because if you're 150 and they might come back once every 6 months, or it might take them 4 months to win that person back, but then they continue to spend more. It's good to know that as well because it gives you that churn time frame. And then monitor your channels, right? Are your new customers coming in? Are they email only subscribers? Are they email and SMS or are they SMS only? Because one, it'll give you ideas for how to communicate with them in workflows, which I'll show you some examples of here in a second. But it also gives you an idea about, hey, how are they interacting as a whole, right? So do we need to send them 3 emails a week? Or can we send them an email 1 week, give them an SMS the next week, and go back to an email the next week? You filter those messages into your overall send cadence. And then on the right side of the bullet points, you'll see some general types of messages that tend to work well or are good types of content for marketing after the holiday season is wrapped up for those one-time only customers. And those are gift-giving reminders. And again, they could be a first-time purchaser and they bought for themselves. That's great. But if it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for someone else. So remind them that your products make great gifts. Could be for new arrivals, right? So if they liked your products once for gift or self, and there's new stuff coming in, maybe it keeps them engaged a little bit more. Best sellers, again, social proof, top rated social proof, right? Back in stock, again, social proof. Those are always good messages. And then incentives, test it, but this is where kind of having a little more segmentation in there for average order value or discounts used or something like that comes in handy, but test them. Maybe your one-time customers need 25% off to become second-time customers, and then it decreases. Maybe they don't need them. Maybe it's just they had such a great experience the first time, you can get away with fewer. So it takes time, but just test those incentives a little bit more. SMS marketing, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Again, we want to incorporate that into our automation. We want to use that in the post-purchase, but If they're SMS subscribers, it's because they like SMS. So let's not ignore the channel for them. And again, tons of different types of messages you could send those customers. I would just balance it with your overall send cadence for purchasers. And again, a lot of the same messages work here that they'll work in email, right? First look, new arrivals, could be flash sales, back in stock, something like that. I would sell flash sales with discounts for those segmented customers too. That makes sense, right? Can we get them with a sense of urgency, fear of missing out with, say, a medium discount? Does that convert them or not? So use SMS where you can. And then I want to talk about two ways year round to kind of engage these customers that might be considering making that second purchase. And these are where they're going to come in: product abandonment and browse abandonment. And these are the two that are going to automate. So they're going to work while you sleep. They're going to work. You just need to get them going, but they're going to guide that person along the journey. And if we know they're a first time purchaser coming back for a second time purchaser, we can use it a little more strategically from our side here. And you can see the conversion rates, right? They're just significantly better than campaign. So why are they important? And then I'll get to some specific strategies to target these customers. So you guys probably heard us tell you this a million times. Here's a customer of ours, right? They don't discount. 57% of all people who click on their abandoned cart messages go on to make a purchase. Significant to know. So if we get someone first time purchaser, second time purchaser, and they cart products, we got them on the hook, right? We just got to close that deal here. But you can see they're driving tons of revenue on small percentage of sends from there. And product abandonment, it kind of holds that same value. They convert 15 times better than your campaign messages. Typically, you just get one or two messages in the series. But we invite shoppers to return. We can promote those differentiators, promote those value adds, and remind people why they purchased the first time, why they should come back and purchase the second time. I would say with these messages, the good news is they're on your site again. That's the beauty part of it. They're on your site. We just need to convert them, but we need to convince them to make those purchases. And how we do that is we can customize our workflows a little bit. So think about ways we can use with product and cart abandonment to customize workflows specifically for these purchases. So obviously we look at purchase history. So yes, you've only purchased once. But what does that mean? Again, we can look at average order value. We can look at products they're looking to purchase, whatever it might be, but use that history to help determine, hey, how can we differentiate our messaging? How can we tweak the messages for people with low AOVs and high AOVs on that first purchase? I'm just using AOV as an example, by the way, but use them to talk to them differently. Maybe it's different discounts. Maybe we use different types of discounts, tiered versus fixed, whatever it might be, minimum spend. Cart or product value, of course, if I abandon a $300 shopping cart or I abandon a $20 shopping cart, huge difference. Huge reason I didn't make a purchase. And especially if you have free shipping over $35. So a $20 cart, maybe I want to give you a tiered discount to get you to spend above that free shipping threshold while still protecting my margins a little bit. And now you get a discount. You also get the free shipping, but I protect a little more margins, but I get you for that second purchase. $200 cart, maybe they don't need that tier. Maybe it's just something else altogether. Channels, of course, right? If they're SMS, web push subscribers as well, we can customize our messaging stream a little bit more. And we can also change delays based on that. Do we need to send 4 messages to someone who has a $20 abandoned shopping cart or checked out a $20 abandoned product? Maybe not. Right? Probably not. Maybe we want to shorten that window, give them 2 messages, a couple hours apart, whatever it might be. So you're going to know more. Again, this is going to be product and brand specific. You're selling a really expensive couch or a really expensive television. That window might be longer from a purchase decision standpoint, right? You need more value adds. If you're selling just an everyday widget or maybe a pair of sneakers or something, probably don't have that extended decision-making process. You probably don't need to focus on all the value adds, intently. You can just kind of do it subtly. And how your messaging can change based on order history. Here's just a couple examples for you as well. So Michael's off the left-hand side. Yay, you made your first purchase. So we're recognizing this is a thank you message, but we're recognizing a first purchase. Here's an example from a different brand on the right side. But hey, you trust us with your business not once, but twice. Thanks so much for that. Here's 15% off if you want to come back and shop again, right? So these are small ways you can just kind of make your tweaks to your messaging to acknowledge the fact that you've come back once, second, third, loyal. And this is one that my wife got 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whatever it was. And I was like, hey, send that to me as well. So text, got something ordered. It's going to be delivered on December 24th. There's a very specific reason we have it delivered on Christmas Eve. But again, you can see where points I highlighted, not just once, but twice. So they're recognizing that we are a repeat customer. But I love at the bottom, our team is going to reach out to you after it's delivered to make sure everything was perfect and uphold our quality of standards. This is like saying perfect. Everything has to be perfect, right? This is showing you that not only do we care and we're trying to get it to you on Christmas Eve, which weather dependent, right? Stuff happens, but they're going to follow up and they're going to make sure this is the best experience of our lives from a purchase. And you know what? We'll probably come back to you the third time. So again, we're looking at small, subtle ways to purchase and elevate that customer experience. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's not about some magic segment that you're going to create to drive tons of repeat purchases. It's about doing the small, subtle things the right way and build upon it and let all that work do the talking for you. Shavings make a pile. So when we talk about personalization, right? We don't want to treat all customers the same. We don't want to treat them all as the loyal customers because they're not. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to have a robust strategy built out right away. We do one thing at a time, implement it, let it work, iterate, do the next thing, iterate, but we want to use the tools available to us like automation that's going to work in the background. Let us focus on it. I gave some recommendations for different types of series. A lot of them were the same with nuances to it, but it's not a one size fits all solution. Expensive Christmas tree, expensive couches, t-shirts, pieces of art, toothbrushes, they're all going to have nuances to them. And you need to look at your own brand, your own value adds, and figure out, what works best for that. Use the tools to your advantage. Use the segments, use automations, use customer support, Omnisend with 24/7 support. Use what's advantage to you, ask questions, and take advantage of it, and try to identify what works. And this is easier said than done because sometimes you're the only person doing all the work. You've got a million things on your plate. You don't have time to go into all the reports and analyze day by day, but you should. That's where the automation comes in. It collects data while you're sleeping. So you should be able to identify some of these things. Send out a message. Your customer service calls decrease. Perfect. That's what you want. Do they increase after you send a follow-up message 2 weeks later? Well, if they do, it tells you something's broken in there, right? Or maybe they need more help, but something's broken and it helps you fix that product or fix that process from the get-go so you reduce those calls later. These are all valuable things. So when we say identify what works, it's not always about sales, it's about processes and making that experience better. So overall, I would say understand how your consumers are engaging. What channels are they using? Email, SMS, web push, all of the above, only one, and talk to them via the channels they use. Test what to see what works, right? Some of this is throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks. I'll give you a quick story. When I was consulting, I had a company. I'm like, you need to do competitive widget type thing. Cheap products are on Amazon. They've got other competitors, right? It is a tough business. And I said, you got to do a thank you message. You have to get these customers, like you've got to do something above and beyond what everyone else is doing. I said, it's never failed. Send a thank you message 2 days later or 3 days later. I forgot what I told them to do. And tons of open rates on it. Was not generating conversions. That's the only time it didn't generate conversions, but there are other reasons for it, right? They didn't have some of those value add competitors, competitive differentiators, but we had to go back and look at it and say, okay, we don't have this, can't match them here. How can we match them, right? People are seeing this, they're opening the message. We need to change that. And we had to just start throwing stuff at the wall. What if we do this call to action? What if we make this content? What if we send it a little bit earlier? What if we up the discount, right? We had to figure out what worked best to make that work a little more effectively. But the only way we knew how to do that was to start sending a message and saying, hey, this message doesn't work, but we know people are looking at it. How do we get it to work, right? The solution was a little more bundled products with a discount. So sold more widgets, kept the margins a little bit, but it was able to help us there. So the only way is by doing. At the end of the day, I just tell you this, improve the purchase experience. Small things. Shavings make a pile, make the experience better. And think about yourself when you're making purchasers, whether it's for you, whether you buy something as a gift to give someone, what would elevate your experience with that brand? And look, if it works for you and it works for your friends, works for your family, probably works for your customers too. and that's where I would go with it. Uh, and personalize when possible. Use the tools to help it. Everything does not have to be 100% personalized. It's a thing. It's about making it better. How can we mass produce personalization at scale, right? And that's the beauty. We do have some resources at Omnisend. We're going to take some of your questions here if we do. If there's any left over, haven't checked it yet, but we have a Black Friday, Cyber Monday hub. If you're still got a whole month to go, I know Black Friday week is this week, but hopefully you're having a good start to it. But we've got the whole shopping season in December still. Have a resource library. We have a couple tools that are free to use. Customer or not, don't need to be logged in. Those are on our website as well, but subject line tester and a subject line generator. Both cases will give you sample subject lines. You can just kind of beg, borrow, and steal and copy as well. And tons of e-commerce marketing videos on YouTube. I'll be on some of them. We have a bunch of others on those, but it's all about how to make your messaging more effective. So if you haven't checked out our YouTube yet, be sure to check that out. And of course, we have a holiday email marketing lookbook. So email examples, what we liked about them as well, visual. It's a free download, but that's on a resource library as well. So be sure to check that out. And of course, the call out, tons of tools for you to help you prepare for the holiday season and beyond. And that's all season. So certainly let us know. With that being said, I got close to top of the hour, which is perfect. I'm going to shoot over, so ignore the kind of awkwardness here, see if we have any questions. We've got a lot of questions answered. Thank you message before the order confirmation. Looks like this one was answered. Yeah, you did a good job of answering it. So order confirmation is going to trigger almost automatically for you. So the order confirmation will go first. What I would recommend is you optimize the order confirmation a little bit. You can put some cross sells or top rated products, something a little more evergreen at the bottom of those messages. Always good there. You can always customize that message a little bit more too. So you'll be like, hey, thanks for your order. You find all the details below. Don't forget to contact your customer service with any questions. But the order confirmation will come before the thank you message, just to be clear there. So you did a good job answering that one as well. Okay, let's see. Is there a way to include things like falling snow in a holiday email? Yeah, so what you want to do, what I'm assuming you're talking about is not the whole screen, but just part of the image. You're just going to use an animated GIF for that. So whatever your image, you see a lot of these during the holiday season when they make the image look like a snow globe, and you get the snow in there. Make it an animated GIF, and that'll take care of it for you. But love stuff like that. All right. Can you choose a location when doing thank you messages so that if they're international customers, they have received the item before the email is sent? So if you have the information on the customer, sync to your email provider or wherever, if you're using Shopify or something, you're obviously going to have the shipping address. So you should be able to port that over. You could do that. I'm assuming you're talking about like the follow-up message, which would be my assumption because I would send the thank you and all that stuff beforehand. But I'm assuming you're referring, Lizzie, to the follow-up message. You should be able to use that data that's in the ecom platform with Omnisend to kind of set those up there. You can always use things like delivered date if you sync those properties up as well. So it doesn't really matter if they're international or not. You just use that delivered date. So there are ways to do that. I think it'll be a little more specific to kind of your integration with the ecom platform, which one you're using. But there should be a way to do that. Yes. But it's a great point. It's a great point, Lizzie. So if you know that you have, say, a custom-made product that takes 2 weeks, right, to kind of produce, or you have international shipping, which takes longer, could get held up in customs, and you have something like that, then you're going to want to use some sort of check for that follow-up message because you don't want to send the follow-up message. What's going to happen is going to get the follow-up message and be like, hey, how was everything with your order? And they're going to call you or email you and go, I haven't got it yet. Where is it at? And then you're going to accelerate your customer service call. So yeah, use one of those checkpoints. Let's see. Is there a way to send the order confirmation from Omnisend rather than Shopify? So yes and no. So I actually recorded a video on this about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, a month ago. It's on our YouTube channel. The long and skinny of it is, it has to go through Shopify, but you can change the Shopify code. And there's a way to use Omnisend to generate that code for you. And you can just copy the code, go into your Shopify account, paste the code on there, and that will customize the message sent from Shopify, which is a requirement, Shopify requirement, to the customer. But you can edit and brand it a little more to make it look like your brand, but you can do that inside of Omnisend. So if you go to our YouTube page, it's within the last month it was published. Just search Order Confirmation. You'll see my picture on there. I'll walk you through exactly how to do that. I show you how to do it in Omnisend, and I show you where to make those changes in Shopify as well. It's a super short video too. It's only like 4 minutes. So you should be okay there. But yes and no, but check out our YouTube channel for a recent video, and I'll walk you through step by step exactly how to do that. All right, we churned and burned through those questions. If you have more, throw them on there or send us an email. You can send me an email, whatever you want to do, and we'll try to get those answered for you. Okay. Client is using Odoo. Is it possible that Omnisend too? I'm not 100% familiar with whether the integration with that specific integration with, was it Odoo, is possible. It might be an API integration. I just don't know specifically. So if you go to our integrations page, you should have all our listed partners there. The best thing to do, Lars, is to contact our support. They should know. They should be able to walk you through all that stuff. You can just open up a live chat button there, but hit the integrations page. If you're not sure, there's a chat bot on our site too. You can always just ask the chat bot and someone will answer you there as well. So I don't know 100%, but we've got the tools to figure that out. And just check that out, and we should be good to go. Okay, we're top of the hour. We've cleared off the question queue. So if anything follows up, find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at Omnisend. Reach out to anyone at Omnisend. We're all super helpful and we're super friendly. So if they're not the person to be able to speak to you, they'll point you in the right direction and get you in contact with that person. Of course, 24/7 live support. So if you're an Omnisend customer, and hopefully you are, use our support. And again, ask them the questions. That's what they're there for. So hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully we got something taken care of for you. If you guys have any questions, reach out, and we'll send that recording in just a couple days here. If you're US bound, happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday to everyone, and to a successful holiday season, everyone.